Here's the truth about skinny wrists. The actual wrist joint, the bones where you wear a watch, won't grow significantly after puberty. That's just a fact of human anatomy. Your wrists are mostly bone and tendons, and there isn't any muscle there that can be grown. So if you've ever felt self-conscious about your wrists being slim, it's not something you can magically fix by curling a dumbbell. But what does change everything is what sits just above the wrist, your forearm muscles. These muscles respond incredibly well to training, and developing them properly can completely transform how your wrists look. Even if you've built big biceps and triceps, small wrists can make your arms look weaker than they actually are. But when you train the forearms above the wrist effectively, you create a powerful visual illusion that makes wrists appear much thicker and stronger. The good news is that forearm muscles recover extremely quickly, which is why arm wrestling legends like Devon Larratt train them almost every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. The trick is not to train them to failure every session. Overtraining can actually hinder progress, but consistent, controlled work produces incredible results. Understanding which muscles to target and how to train them is key. When researchers studied athletes using EMG electrodes, they discovered that not all forearm exercises are equal. Standard wrist curls certainly activate some flexor muscles, but these aren't the muscles that create true thickness near the wrist. On the other hand, exercises involving forearm rotation, like pronation movements where you twist your palm from facing up to facing down, activate a muscle called the pronator teres at an astonishing 73% of its maximum capacity, located on the inner side of the forearm just below the elbow. This muscle is crucial not only for strength but also for creating the visual bulk that makes wrists appear thick. Yet most people never train it directly, which is why the forearm often remains underdeveloped compared to biceps and triceps. One of the first exercises to consider comes from the world of elite rock climbers. These athletes are famous for having some of the most developed forearms in the world, and there's a reason for it. A study measuring muscle activation during different grip positions found that the flexor digitorum profundus, the deep muscle controlling your fingertips, activated at 96.6% of its reference voluntary contraction during crimp grips, which are the intense finger positions climbers use on small holds. This muscle is what allows climbers to maintain strong, sustained grips on tiny ledges. And the same principle applies to wrists. Training this muscle creates thickness through the forearm, making the wrist look broader in comparison. The easiest way to replicate this stimulus is with crimp grip dead hangs. Using a pull-up bar or a fingerboard, grip with just your fingertips, letting your fingers bend at the first knuckle joint. Your thumbs can either wrap for support or stay alongside your fingers. Let your body hang with arms straight, focusing on time under tension rather than pulling up. Start with short holds of 10 to 20 seconds, performing 3 to 4 sets, and rest 3 minutes between each set. Add weight only after you can hang comfortably for 30 seconds or more. Keep your shoulders slightly pulled down to avoid collapsing, and always stop if you feel sharp pain. While rock climbers excel at building deep forearm muscles, old-school bodybuilders discovered another method decades ago that has largely disappeared from modern gyms. These lifters didn't have EMG studies or scientific papers to guide them. They relied on years of trial and error and observing what truly built mass. One such exercise is the behind-the-back finger curl. It looks unusual, and most people dismiss it as pointless, but its unique positioning activates muscles that standard wrist curls simply cannot reach. Standing with a barbell behind your back, your arms hanging straight down, gravity pulls the weight into your fingertips, forcing your fingers to curl the bar back into your palms before your wrists even flex. This recruits the deep flexor muscles, adding density that makes the wrists look thicker. To perform it correctly, start with just the bar for practice. Grab it shoulder width apart, palms facing backward, lift it out of a rack, and let your arms hang behind you. Let the bar roll down to your fingertips, then curl your fingers closed to bring it back into your palms before flexing your wrists upward. Lower it slowly, letting the bar roll back out to your fingertips. This combination of finger and wrist motion is what triggers the deep muscles and builds the internal mass essential for thicker forearms. Use a manageable weight, perform 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, and rest 60 to 90 seconds between sets. The final muscle to address is the pronator teres, the one most people neglect entirely. When you examine the forearms of elite arm wrestlers, strongmen, and old-school lifters, this muscle is always well developed. Sitting on the inner forearm just below the elbow, it controls pronation, the motion of rotating your palm from up to down like turning a doorknob. Arm wrestling legend Devon Larratt calls it your best weapon because pronation strength is critical in the sport. But even if you never arm wrestle, building the pronator teres adds width and thickness to the upper forearm, creating a taper that makes the wrist appear proportionally smaller and more defined. To train it, you only need a light dumbbell. Sitting on a bench, rest your right forearm flat on your thigh, letting your wrist hang just past your knee. Hold the dumbbell with your palm facing up, then rotate your forearm inward until your palm faces the ground. Feeling the contraction just below your elbow, pause, then rotate back slowly, controlling both directions. Perform 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps per arm, using light weight. The goal is endurance and control, rather than heavy loading. All of these exercises can be combined into a single workout. Forearms recover fast, so there's no need for the long rest periods required for larger muscles like legs or chest. Start with 2 to 3 sessions per week and increase to 4 or 5 if your recovery allows. You can do these exercises at the end of your regular workout or on off days as a focused session. Avoid heavy forearm work before exercises that require grip strength, like deadlifts or pull-ups. A progressive approach works best. The first week or 2, focus on learning the movements with perfect form. By week 3 or 4, add small amounts of weight while maintaining control. Weeks 5 through 8 involve gradual progression, but only if your technique remains flawless. From week 9 onward, you should start noticing visible changes in your forearms and continue progressing slowly. Don't train to failure every session. As Devon Larratt demonstrates, training for a strong contraction and pump without overexerting allows you to train frequently without burnout. When you understand how these muscles work and how to target them effectively, it becomes clear that wrist size isn't entirely about bone structure. The illusion of thick wrists comes from building the forearms above them, the deep flexors, the pronator teres, and the muscles controlling your fingers. Developing these areas creates proportionality, strength, and definition that completely transforms how your arms look. With consistent work, correct technique, and gradual progression, you can turn naturally slim wrists into an aesthetic, strong-looking feature that complements the rest of your arm development. It's not an overnight fix, it's a commitment to smart training and attention to detail. So, if you've ever felt self-conscious about skinny wrists, now you know the truth. Your wrist bones won't change, but the muscles above them will. With proper training, attention to form, and a little patience, you can build forearms that make your wrists appear thicker, more defined, and visually powerful. And the best part? You don't need hours in the gym to see results. Strategic, focused training a few times a week, combined with proper recovery, is all it takes to create impressive transformation. Over time, this approach doesn't just change how your arms look, it changes how they perform, how they feel, and how confident you feel in everyday situations. If you have questions about any of these exercises or want clarification on form, feel free to leave a comment. This is one of those areas where small, consistent actions create dramatic changes over time, and understanding the science behind it ensures that every rep counts.